After years of trying and failing every diet you can think of, Jesus was the one that actually helped me lose and keep off 30 pounds. This is not weight loss advice. This is strictly just my experience with how inner healing actually helps me to release weight and change my habits to be able to sustain weight loss long term. Like I said, this is called balanced living, not perfect living, okay? The only perfect one was Jesus. When I was younger, I had a pretty chaotic home environment and turned to food for comfort. And that habit stayed with me most of my life, up until a few years ago when I started on my inner healing journey. Unfortunately, I never was dealing with the root when I would try to lose weight. I was always just choosing to hate myself and be mean to myself, restricting myself, over exercising, and really kind of exhausting my body, and it didn't work. So a few years ago when I moved to Colorado from Texas, I was at the highest weight I had ever been at, and I knew that I needed to lose some weight. In that moment, I was happier, I had more control over my diet, and I was less stressed. So in the course of a couple of months, I actually lost 30 pounds just by being less stressed. Well, unfortunately, I had a lot of stressors pop up into my life after that, and my weight started to do this pretty dramatic yo-yo of up 15 to 20 pounds, down 15, 20 pounds, up, down, and it was really chaotic. Mind you, it was also really bad for my body. In that time, I started talking with Jesus about what I needed to do to make long-term changes in order for me to be able to keep and sustain the weight loss that I had had and to be able to continue to have weight loss in the future. And the first thing he told me was that I couldn't hate myself into changing. I know that a lot of us think that we can do that we can bully ourselves into changing or watch enough skinny talk or punish ourselves enough in the gym, but that just didn't work for me. It says in the Bible that we are called to repentance by God's grace and mercy and loving kindness. So if that works in other areas of our lives, why would that not also work with our physical health? So what I started doing was, instead of hyper-focusing on what I was eating, how much I was eating, how much I was exercising, I started trying to address the root issues of why I had these bad habits, and also started doing things that helped me feel better, but were also better for my body. Because I was focusing on taking my emotions to Jesus and focusing on healing on the inside, I started losing the weight that I had gained back, and I have kept it off and lost even more. I know that I still have another 15 to 30 pounds that I could lose in order to be at like the optimal BMI, but at the moment, I'm really happy with how my body feels, what I'm able to do with my body. I'm happy with my eating habits, and none of what is going on with my body is getting in the way of my relationship with God anymore. If I looked like this for the rest of my life, I know that I would still be able to do everything that God has called me to do effectively, because my body is currently not hindering me from being able to do the work for the kingdom or obeying God in any sense. 30 pounds ago, I had a really hard time doing a lot of things. I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't like the way that I looked. I didn't feel confident. I felt like when I would go places that the only thing that people would see was my weight. And whether or not that was the case, all I know is that I was being hindered by things that I needed to be able to fix in myself. Throughout this process, I learned to love myself regardless of what I looked like, but also to value getting my body into a place that made it feel good. I always say that this is balanced living, not perfect living, because the only perfect one was Jesus. And yesterday was the 4th of July, so I went and I had barbecue and potato salad, and I had ice cream, and it was amazing. And I'm one of those people that's not going to turn down ice cream, but I watch my additives, I watch my sugar, I watch how much caffeine I have. I also have learned to catch myself when I see myself going back into disordered eating habits. When I start getting really stressed, I have to watch that disordered eating so that I don't spiral into something that's unhealthy for my body again. At this point, continuing to pursue healing on the inside, working through my emotions, taking everything to God, has been what's helped me to keep off the weight that I initially lost in the first place. This way of thinking and doing things can impact every area of your life. You can't hate yourself into changing. You can't punish yourself into long-term change. So if you have something in your life, a habit, an addiction, anything like that, that you have been fighting to do on your own, I want you to go and ask Jesus to help you with that. Give it to him and just let him have it. Because when I gave Jesus my disordered eating, when I gave him my disordered exercise habits, when I gave him my disordered thinking about myself, he was way kinder to me than I ever was to myself. And it was more effective with him leading than it ever was for me leading. So I hope that helps somebody, just a little snippet of the day. As always, if you got anything from this video, please like or comment below. I will see you on the next episode of The Whole Journey.